Welcome to Call for Wisdom. Did you know, my sisters? I think you've noticed that female sexuality has been under attack. It is under attack. Things are not the way they should be. Ever since feminism, it didn't liberate our sexuality. It hijacked it, twisted it. Yep. Weaponized it against us. And we fell for it. We thought, hey, hot girl summer, here we go. We fell for it. But the devil doesn't like us, sis. He doesn't. Yah, our Father, our Creator, He made us these beautiful, gentle creatures. Beautiful, pure creatures. And boom! Before our mother Eve even got out of the garden, she got contaminated. She got bitten in a way. She got deflowered in a way. And it changed everything for us. Like everything. After Eve took the bite, not only did we get the punishment of labor pains and struggles like that, but we have been under attack through the rebellion that continues in us. And right now, our femininity and our sexuality is what I'm talking about right now, is under attack. It can be a lot better. And I'm going to tell you today, we're just going to have a little discussion. It's a little bit late. Just have a little discussion. Grab a cup of tea, a glass of wine if you want to. I don't mind. It's just for you and me, my sisters. Let's have a little discussion about sexuality. And how it can be if we start going the opposite way and we detox from feminism and also from the vampires, I like to call them. Because it's kind of like, you see this innocence that we used to have in our imagination. You were born like innocent, and some of you got abused early, and that was stolen from you too. That was untacked. Boom, right away. Some of you lasted 12 and 13, and yet, with the rise of pornography and the social pressure to be liberated already, all 13 and 12 and 11 you got messed up with, and you went there, and your sexuality was contaminated already. Some of you held up a little bit longer. College age, you know. Still, the pressure of being in college. You're not married yet. And you see other people doing it. And there we go with the campaign again. The attack again on our sexuality. And why do I keep on saying sexuality? Well, as women, it's a big part of us. Look at us. We're not so bad looking. Most of us are tolerable. And if you were very, 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 very... it doesn't matter how ugly you are. There's always seems to be one man who thinks you're okay and will do it with you, and still marry you up. When Eve came into the earth, Adam goes, wow. And men are built to be attracted to our beauty, to our shape, to our physical beauty, but also inwardly, we are sensual, we are emotional, we are supposed to be tender, we are supposed to, like originally supposed to be joined and compatible with Adam. And I think sex, when done in righteousness, and if you are healthy, physically healthy, should be a beautiful thing. But hey, it's been under attack. Under attack by trauma. People stealing it, the enemy hitting it really, really early. And my sisters, I feel for you, because it's not just feminism that hit us, but we also opened the door to the enemy. And we have a lot to be taking account for. So some of you did get abused, but a lot of us older ones, you know what? You got to say that nobody really abused you. you were old enough to make decisions and you opened the door to be under attack. And the enemy came in like those sexual vampires. And they bit you. And they stole from you because you let them in. You know, they were knocking on the door and it's nighttime. They're knocking on the door of your computer and it's nighttime, or your phone, and saying, you know, swipe left, swipe left. Ooh, what in the world is that? Oh, okay. And it, you know, you're like, what? Should I change it? It's quite interesting. I know I probably shouldn't watch that. And I'm talking to you, sisters. We're not talking to the guys. I know. Erotica and soft porn. Pictures of body parts you probably shouldn't have seen already and you can't erase it out. And then it goes into, okay, I'll just click it because nobody's there to check me. Right? You think. And that's all it took, my sisters. That little bit of permission to have an attack on your sexuality. I'm telling you this because you and I are female. And we have this, one side we want to be saints and, you know, we want to pretend that we're nuns and that we were born again virgins. And it doesn't matter how big our body count is, you God has forgiven us, hallelujah. And then on the other side, we have this secret closet full of weapons that we use against ourselves to violate ourselves. And if we're not violating ourselves with it, talking about toys and I know it's like PG-13 kind of Bible study going on here, but even to you 13-year-olds, my sisters, your sexuality is under attack because we have all these temptations. And I can't protect you from it. Your mother can't protect you from it. And if you're a grown woman, you know you can't. It's just bombarded all the time. Every single movie. And what happens when you watch a movie that has a long sex scene in it? I mean, come on. If you're single, you know, you're like looking, okay, interesting. And, you know, after a while, it's like more than interesting. You play it on repeat, you know? And then if you're married, you start comparing that experience that you saw on these romantic sitcoms and on these movies to your husband. And then you even can possibly have the audacity to commit mentally, in your heart, in your mind, adultery by lusting after another man. Now, sisters, you know, Call for Wisdom, we're all about biblical marriage. And if you don't know that, welcome to Call for Wisdom. Like and subscribe and hit the button and share it, right? But listen, my sisters, it only takes a thought. That's what Yeshua was trying to teach in Matthew, that a man that lusts after a woman that's not his, right? If the woman belongs to somebody else, lusts after her, he's already committed adultery in his heart. The same thing applies to you and I. If you're married, right? And you're watching a movie and you're watching some soft porn and you think the guy's hot, and he possibly is, but he's not yours, right? He's not yours. And so here you go in your imagination and your husband's there and you're like, this guy's overweight. He's frumpy. He's nothing. He's not turning me on. And then I got this temptation, this attack from the enemy on my sexuality to be luring me into adultery in my mind. And oh my goodness. It's almost easier for the single sisters, you know, but for the married ones, boy, you are under attack. Female sexuality is under attack. We have feelings too, you know. It's not just the guys that are getting bombarded by pornography. No. By corn. I know you can't say these words on the internet, but whatever. Please do share it anyway. So at least some other people can hear this podcast, even if it doesn't really resonate. But I'm just saying, my sisters, if you're married, you got to watch out. You got to shut the doors. Because if you don't shut the doors, you're going to start comparing yourself to what you have sitting there on the couch, drinking some Coca-Cola with some Cheetos, and you're like, he's nothing. And you get discontented. Make it worse, you go to TikTok, more tags of female sexuality. Oh yeah, a lot of women complaining about all kinds of things and saying that men ain't ish and men are bad and he doesn't turn me on and he doesn't make any effort to turn me on and all kinds of superficial nonsense. That's how much female sexuality has been diminished to superficial nonsense, to the glorification of our outward appearance and the lack of modesty. Because biblically, our sexuality had a lot to do with our beauty, that's true, but not all men had access to seeing our beauty. Our beauty was so precious that we would cover it up and only expose it to the man who had the privilege because he had a covenant with us, a commitment, right? And because he had that covenant union commitment we call marriage, he had access to see the gems. But before that, we didn't go flaunting it out. No. Feminism has mocked modesty like it's a badge that you actually, we just don't want modesty. Modesty is a shameful thing for feminism. Feminism was never really meant to be helpful. It was meant to destroy our sexuality because pure female sexuality was never meant to be a public property posted on OnlyFans and on Instagram and everybody got to see your back cheeks. Everybody got to see the shape, even in church, those ushers. Everybody got to see everything. Modesty isn't about hiding your beauty. It's about guarding it from those who haven't earned the access to it, my sisters. Instead of teaching women to protect their femininity, their gentleness, their curves, their neckline, all the beautiful parts of you, the more beautiful you think they are, the more you possibly should cover it up. Because we all have different shapes, Some of us have more chest, some have more legs, more backside. Whatever you got, cover up the access. Treat it holy, treat it special, treat it beautifully because it's under attack. And you don't just flaunt it there for the enemies to walk over it. You gotta preserve it. But another way it's under attack is femininity. Our femininity is becoming more masculine. So the way that we think of ourselves now is like so rough and aggressive. Feminist masculine women are aggressive, they're sexually dominant, they're always combative, we're always arguing with a man, we're always speaking loud. We got to give him a piece of our mouth. And this is whole like, that ain't sexy. That's just not it, my sisters. If you want to know what true sexuality is for a woman, it's actually the opposite. And I dare say, submission is sexy. If you are a gentle, quiet, sweet woman, that's not weakness. That is hot. Ask any man, any man, if he finds that attractive, and I betcha he will confirm it is. And guess what? It doesn't even require you taking off your clothes. You don't even need to take a selfie. That gentle, quiet spirit, oh my goodness, that's like a sweet aroma of sensuality that is so precious. But that, my sisters, of our sexuality is under attack. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You gotta guard it. You gotta remember it. And if you've lost it, calm down, come back, and find out. Go backwards, go back to the start. Find out how you got to where you're going. How did you lose your femininity? How did you become so aggressive? And most of you need a lot of counseling. And again, this is why I'm here on Call for Wisdom. Please email if you need some coaching and some guidance, and come along. If you need some trauma that you have to deal with it. Because masculine energy, which I hate using the word energy, but coming out so masculine and dominant is the opposite of your sexuality. The man is supposed to be in a dominant role, and we know that. Read any of the allures of erotica, and even in movies, and generally speaking, and you shouldn't be on porn, none of that. But the whole point is that when they write scripts for females, they usually put the man in the dominant position, because we know and they know that a dominant man to us is a turn on, but a weak man to us is the opposite. A man that cries and is a little bit effeminate, we will use them as our best buddies. Yeah, best buddies galore, but not sexually attracted to him. Why? Because masculine energy or masculine men are leaders. They are the head. They have authority. They come out dominant. They know what they want. They take it. Yes, they lead and they take it. And in our little imaginations of our dreams, you and I, do not tell me that you did not fantasize when you were fantasizing of a dominant man. Okay? So we know that female sexuality is definitely sensually softer, submissive, and submission is under attack. We now think that's a bad word. No. And in taking that out of your vocabulary and making submission a bad word, they are stealing the pleasure that comes from submitting. They are stealing that from you. You do not know how much they're stealing that from you. And we're going to go into it more and more on Call for Wisdom, because I can write books about female sexuality, and I will. Look up for them coming up very soon, because that one is a special one to dig into. Sexuality and submission. But the other thing that's under attack is they've removed Yah from the bedroom. So before, you really needed to go through your father, and they needed to ask your permission, this is a man, before he had sex with you, and have a covenant relationship with you. And again, we're not talking about he needed to go to the state and get a state license. No, if you've been following me on Call for Wisdom, you know that that is not in the Bible. There's no request or requirement to go get a state license. That's not required. But he did need to have a covenant with you, a commitment with you, that he would proclaim you as his woman and take you. And he got permission from your head, right? He didn't steal you. No stealing going on. And then when he did that, that was honorable to Most High. But our sexuality now is exposed, because now they've removed us from our protection. And now it's all hookups, a sexual encounter here and one over there. And before you're 18, you already got 5. And especially what breaks my heart the most is the devaluing of virginity. That part of sexuality has been scorned and mocked. Something a girl had to take off as quickly as possible. It's like, ooh, I'm so uncool. It is so uncool to be a virgin in 2025. and the devil, the enemy, has fooled you. That one is a hard-on attack to just cross out as many virgins as possible. And now these pro brothers are looking around for virgins, and they are rare. And but when 25 years ago, 30 years ago, around my age time when I was young, and most of my friends, if not 90% of us, were virgins before we got married. It was not uncommon, but now it's rare. Because female sexuality is under attack. from all sides of femininity, the enemy, the media, the feminist idolatry that's going on. It's everywhere, removing Yah from the bedroom. And it's tricked us to become like predators because now we're acting so aggressive. The hot girl summer. You are approaching men, flaunting it out, saying, hey, we want to hit it up tonight. Like a man, right? Feminine sexuality is not predatory. It's a receptive. We are the ones receiving the seed. We are the ones receiving what the farmer has to give because we're the land. We don't go taking ourselves to the farmer, right? The role is reversed and has made women aggressive and emotionally hard and less desirable to righteous men. But righteous femininity doesn't stalk. Yes, you can show your desire for the man, but you don't have to hunt him down. You can definitely show your desire in different ways, and we'll get into it. But it doesn't need to stalk a man. It doesn't need to actually go so hard to get a man, and it's not needed. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 22 says, as a jewel of gold in a swine's nose is a fair woman which is without discretion. I love that one. It's like you got a perfect jewel and you put it in the nose of a pig. That's what you look like to the Most High if you're lacking wisdom, my sisters. Throwing your jewels to pigs, looking like a fool. Bah. You know what? But it's not too late. There is redemption. Y'all can restore your sexuality. There are some crucial things that need to be done. Some really serious work that needs to be done. But it's possible. Sis, if you've been robbed, he can restore you. If you've been hurt, he can quiet your spirit. If you've been given your body away to 1,000,000 men, he can renew your mind and your body. You will never be a virgin again. Sorry. But he can renew you. He can make you new. The best part of our sexuality has been stolen from us. It has been attacked. It has been banged up. Twerking and choosing the wrong man and watching too much pornography and accepting all kinds of garbage input from media. But we can detox from it. But first, just take the time to admit it, that you're under attack. And if you would like me to help you in any way, if you need some assistance, you just check me out in my email, my sisters. Write something about, your experience and I'll pray with you. But I have hope. And that's why we're here in Call for Wisdom, is because Yah has given you and I hope through his word. And I don't want you to give up hope. I don't want it at all. And there's a testimony in you when he turns you around, just like he did so many other women in the Bible, like Rahab, the harlot that spies came and found, and she actually got married later on, and she became a descendant of Yeshua. Yeah, there's actually women in Yeshua's genealogy, Jesus's genealogy, that were 304s. And yet they had the honor of still being in his genealogy because Yah was able to restore them. And I'm telling you, you're under attack, but don't give up. All right? Study the word of God, pray, and you will find the way. Blessings, my sisters. Thanks for visiting Call for Wisdom. Check the next video about sexuality, and you take care. Blessings.